Open is at an important spot, hovering right above that $8 level, closing at 8.12. So today we're going to be analyzing what we should be expecting, predicting what price we should be seeing within the next week, and also briefly analyzing the overall market, seeing what is actually going on here, guys. As we've had a ton of back and forth, but overall a very, very strong week for Open, going all the way from that $5 level roughly all the way to $9. So we did a very substantial movement, guys, roughly correcting and doing around 80% within that 4 days of price action. And then we saw a very small pullback comparative, and today just a bit of back and forth with a lot of selling pressure. So starting this analysis on the weekly time frame, this gives the long-term picture of it all. We were in this long, drawn-out movement to the downside. We'll actually take it onto the monthly for a better perspective, guys. As we IPO'd, we were around that $11 to $10 range, 10.50, and went all the way to 39. Quickly went back down. We couldn't hold that spot, retest, and then we flushed for a very long time here, guys. And then we really go to nothing. Stock goes to 50 cents. So you see buyer pressure, buyer interest, volume completely does a 180. We had absolutely nothing. Ramp up a little bit, and then boom. Huge spikes in volume aiding this movement. And we take it to the weekly here, guys. We are battling right at that IPO range, being that rough 1057 level. As you can see here, that was the resistance. We hit 1087. We couldn't hold above that spot, gotten a little bit of a flag, and then sellers went ahead and flushed that pattern, but then we quickly bought back up, having a nice overall week this week. But now, should we expect a continued movement, retesting, and try to get above that 1057, or are we going to keep on facing this downward selling pressure? On the daily chart, guys, we see a very obvious pattern. We had this very volatile move to the upside, then we get into this flag structure, and we're battling back and forth to the top, trying to break that resistance. Right, I held up nicely here, and then we flush. We flush down pretty aggressively. We go all the way to 5, so we have a movement under that pennant structure, breaking below, hitting around that 642. We gap down, we open up, and then we do correct a lot of that movement. Buyers buying all the way back up right around that $5 level and closing above that 642. And that move continues for 3 more days, getting us all the way to that $9 level. Very quick, explosive move. We see a small pullback, and now we see today an indecisive day with, we did close green, but a lot of selling pressure and indecision. Very thin body, so not a ton of control here from the buyers, but we do close green. And if we flip on over to the hourly, we're right at the support level of that rough $8 level where we're looking for that bounce. So if we were to get a bounce, guys, this would be a good spot to do it, right at that psychological 8. It's where we flush lower in this pennant, couldn't hold that $8 level, and we broke above that recently. Now we're testing right at that level. So very obvious spot to look for a support bounce. And if we didn't get that, guys, you'd look for that 752 to be that support that we get that bounce at, and very likely to get a bounce either at that 8 or 752. Long term looking really good still, just pretty indecisive in the short term. As we saw on the weekly, guys, still very, very nice on the long-term picture of things. There's been a ton of back and forth with the market. Although there's a lot of selling pressure here, there was a ton of buying pressure there. So definitely not a horrible bearish sign whatsoever. And we still had a very aggressive move to the upside this week and correction. Now, if we dive on into IWM, since Open is a low cap stock, IWM is the main low cap stock sector. So if we see this, guys, this is textbook, what I like to call it. One, a bear trap, but also a lot of tug of war going on between the buyers and the sellers. So we had this initial kind of pullback here, guys, and then this was a bear trap. A lot of people thinking, it's a big pullback here. Get ready. We're going all the way down to 230, and then boom, buyers step in pretty nicely, getting us back to that 245 level. And then we find a little bit of pressure there. Can't get above that level. Try to, but then we flush even further. It's not people like, oh, the sellers are back in that control. But boom, guys, today we actually had a really nice bounce considering what we were getting from the market, especially with that quick volatile movement downwards. With the overall market suffering, our IWM low cap, but also QQQ and SPY suffering on that day. Really tough day for the market. But today we do get that bounce. So that is the bear trap, guys. People thinking, we're going to continue to the downside, trap the bears. Boom, nice explosive volatile bounce back up. So we're playing tug of war instead of having a nice continued movement to the upside or a continued movement to the downside. We see that downwards pressure, but we're seeing a ton of back and forth. So the obvious ranges to look at on IWM being the sector 234 and 245, right? That is the direct control. In between that, we're battling. We're going back and forth. If we can remain under 234, use that as resistance once more, continue to the downside, especially getting under that 230, use that as resistance. We are in a strong spot for the bears. Now, on the inverse, guys, if we can go ahead, battle back up to 245, get above that, use that as support, and continue to the upside, we're looking good and in a good position for the bulls, being that correction spot and then continuing for the low cap sector. And if we flip on over to open, guys, we are still in a very nice position to go ahead and continue this breakout. This selling pressure could be an indicator of, a couple more days or a day going back to the downside, trying to find that 752 and then trying to push back up. Also could be a quick volatile correction from the buyers where we quickly get back to that 880 and push higher. Continue to stay in this volatile breakout level move as we are in. We're seeing a very aggressive quick move to the upside. And the condition that the market is in, this isn't a spot where we're just going to chop around here, a few days and boom. It's very much up or down here, guys. We're in a volatile spot where we're either going to correct quickly or we're going to try to press down further and then find that support and continue up, trying to break through. We're in a very volatile space on the market, and I don't think it changes next week. I think next week we continue to see this volatile movement, right? Bears trying to push us down further with the overall market, buyers trying to push us back up. Right now, we're battling for current control in the market. So we have seen continued downwards pressure, but open definitely remains well over a lot of the stocks. If we look at NEO, for example, another small cap stock, guys, look at all that downwards pressure that we've been seeing. So this is something good to analyze. Look at APLD, another low cap stock, all that downwards pressure. Then you all flip on over to open. We're seeing really good price action comparative to what the market is giving us. So that's something you want to keep in mind. That's a indicator that the stock is strong. And, we didn't get the exact day that we wanted today. We did close green, but ton of selling pressure. Although we do have two very important zones, being that $8 psychological level and 752, where we're looking for that support bounce. And if I take you guys back to the hourly, we're still in a really nice range of a breakout level movement with a smaller pullback. So expect a stair step like pattern to occur, getting that bounce, continuing to the upside. Just kind of a stair stepping back up to 1057 roughly, where we're looking for that IPO range break and continuation, getting back over those previous highs of 1087 and continuing this movement out. I think we saw the bear trap here breaking out of this flag structure to the downside, quickly correct. And now we're seeing a smaller pullback either to 8 or 752. We're going to go ahead and get that bounce and continue this breakout level movement. That's the analysis today, guys. The only thing that could disrupt this is either very bad fundamental news or the overall market tanking to the downside, as you see IWM. But we do react very well here, guys. This was the short opportunity. We see a very obvious support level here get broken under. We're kind of cleared to 234, another very solid support level. And the sellers try to bring us under there, quickly correct right away in the morning. And then we continue for the rest of the day, holding strong and holding our ground, not getting pushed back down. So IWM looking pretty good here, guys. Definitely the move that you wanted for the buyers. And that will only contribute to open if we can continue that to the upside. So overall bullish in the long term. And next week, guys, just trade cautiously. Long-term traders, you can definitely feel well here in this position. So let me know your price predictions in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed and want to see more videos just like this one, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, as I'll continue to update you guys on stock open. And as always, guys, trade smart. I'll see you all in the next one.